This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
A young, vibrant man.
Yes, hello. I've been waiting for you. Hello.
Theresa May was effectively given a fortnight's grace today after making an appeal for one last chance to deliver Brexit at a meeting with the senior Tories. Just that phrase, senior Tories, doesn't it make you want to throw the windows open just to get the stuffiness out of the room?
Yes.
The Prime Minister is said to have been emotional and frustrated. I wonder what that looks like. It always looks as though her face is fighting with itself. What does emotional and frustrated look like upon that visage? Anyone got a photograph? The PM said to have been emotional and frustrated during a showdown with members of the powerful 1922 committee in her Commons office. Theresa May said... Poor Mrs M. Are we feeling sorry for her yet?
No.
A little bit. MPs stopped short of ordering her to name the date for her departure, but she's still facing an effective deadline in the form of a crunch vote on the EU withdrawal bill in just over 2 weeks' time. Isn't it exciting?
Negative.
That deal's coming up for a review again. Because if at first time you don't succeed, and the second time you don't succeed, and the third time you don't succeed, keep doing the same thing over and over again, because that'll work. That deal's failed more times than Nigel Farage trying to become an MP.
I'm a nutcase.
A statement released by the 1922 chairman, Sir Graham Brady, said, It said he expects Mrs M to set out a schedule for departure whatever the result of the Commons clash. Whatever the result is, he wants to hear you say...
Bye-bye.
An MP who was in the room told Mail Online the PM is frustrated at not being able to deliver Brexit after the negotiations. She was quite emotional, he said. Hey, Mrs M.
I am the most fabulous whiner. And I'm a whiner, and I keep whining and whining.
That was the wrong one. Oh, well, never mind. I was on the wrong page completely. It was on Donald Trump's page. I should have been on Arnie's page. Hey, Mrs M.
Stop whining.
There you go. I still haven't learnt this new board. Not that I'm complaining.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
An MP who was in the room said the PM is frustrated at not being able to deliver Brexit. Well, just imagine what we're feeling. On and on and on it's been going. She is incredibly frustrated, he said. Or she, sexist. She's doing her level best to deliver things and people are not going along with her. The amount of times that I've heard people call in on this and other programmes and saying that Mrs M is digging her heels in and she's not really trying and she's just a Ramona and stuff like that. I think she's trying really hard. Sadly, this is the best that she can do, up against such implacable opposition. Numpties to the left of her and numpties to the right. There she is, stuck in the middle with that lot.
Oh, fabulous.
There was a degree of tears of frustration, said this MP who was in the room. Now, come on, people. Tears now. Are we feeling a little bit sorry for her? Oh, I feel the tide is turning. First it was a no, now it's an Nick Timothy, Mrs M's former Chief of Staff, said... Now, just keep in mind, this is her former Chief of Staff. I've got no idea what that position actually entails, but it sounds like they're quite close, you know, all hugger-mugger. Practically wearing the same jacket they were. Nick Timothy, Mrs M's former Chief of Staff, said it is beyond time for the Prime Minister to accept that the game is up, saying that she risks killing the Conservatives for good. Her premiership has failed, he said. Her authority is shot. Every day wasted from here makes life harder for whoever leads Britain into the future. We need to end this national humiliation. Wow. With former chiefs of staff like that, you don't need opposition spokespeople.
Correct.
Some Tories wanted to stay. Hands up who wants her to stay. Oh, my God. You've got to be kidding me. Is that first call real? Hello? Hello? Is that first call real? Can you not hear me? No, apparently not. But I do enjoy the look of panic on his face. An ecstasy of fumbling as he tried all of the headphones in the studio to see which one worked. Everything is under control. Don't worry. Just be calm. Is that first call for real? You still can't hear me, can you? Hello? Is this thing on? I might take that first call in just a minute. I expect it won't last very long. Nick Timothy, the former Chief of Staff, said, oh, please go, or words to that effect. But some Tories don't want her to go. They've got used to the punishment. I expect it'll be their public schooling. They love a bit of it. Some Tories want her to stay, claiming it won't solve their Brexit conundrum. With one telling the Mail Online, changing the pilot doesn't change the weather. Correctamundo, doesn't matter who's going to be next up. The problem will remain the same. The song will remain the same. Get Led Zeppelin on the phone and they'll sing it to us.
Rock and roll!
For a vast amount of money. I was watching an old clip. Oh, by the way, don't do this. Don't go onto YouTube and start watching old clips, because time ticks away and you waste the whole day. But there was an old clip of David Letterman who wanted to play the Eagles. Now, he wanted his in-house band to play an Eagles song, and the fella who was the head of the band, Paul Schaefer, said, no, we can't do that. And David Letterman said, well, why not? He said, because there's just a blanket ban on playing it. And so this became a bit now, and he spent about 12 minutes trying to find out how much it would cost to play an Eagle, just a clip of an Eagles song, not the actual record, just for his band to play an Eagles song on the television. And then they started guessing how much money it would be. And they started at a not unreasonable $10,000. $10,000 just to play a clip of an Eagles song. I mean, you think it's a fair bit of change, but there was not 10,000. And so they had this guessing game. And I would imagine that Led Zeppelin and AC/DC and all the rest of these bands are pretty much the same. $10,000, he said, no, a little bit more than that. He said, 20,000. He said, no, up. Okay, 50,000. He said, no, more than that. $75,000 to just play a clip of an Eagles song? Not even the record, just another band playing it. More than $75,000. Turned out it was $250,000. What? Wow. I would imagine that it would cost more to play a post-Joe Walsh clip than it would a clip from an Eagles song previous to Joe Walsh, because much more exciting. Am I right?
Yes.
Anyway, where were we? Oh, yeah. Up to our eyeballs in the issues. Maybe I should better take this call first, because it seems like a very, very important one. Can you hear me now? No. Well, maybe these calls can hear me. We can, but cross our fingers and dive right in. So I'll get back to Mrs. M in just a moment. First, there's a vital call in Newcastle. Hello, Ken.
Yes, Nick. I'd like to ask you, why do you hate
oh,
Jesus?
No. Why have you heard the word of the Lord, Nick?
Why do you hate Jesus?
Have you brought
friend?
Jesus into your life, Nick?
Why do you mock Jesus?
I'm not mocking
Why
Jesus, Ken. I'm mocking you. I don't hate Jesus. I hate you. Same call every week. Nick, have you heard the word of the Lord? Which doesn't mean the word of the Lord. It means whatever comes out of your mouth next. God, give us a break, Ken. You are not I hate to break the news to you, but you are not Jesus. Neither do you speak the word of the Lord. Oh, and by the way, God doesn't exist. Hate to break the news to you. I can't believe that guy. Every single week. Nick, have you heard the word of Jesus? Can you bring Jesus into your life, Nick? Why is he even on the air? Which is, a lot of people are staring at the radio every time I'm on. Why is he even on the air, they say? Rude. 0345. That was a small interlude. An interlude of amusement. Well, it amused me. Is he still there?
Yes, I'm still...
Okay, well, just stay right there, Ken. Then we'll know where you are. 0345 Does this show make sense yet?
No.
0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. I want you to stay there, Ken. I'll come to you every now and again, all right?
Okay, my friend.
Okay. Great. At least if he's hanging on the line, he can't get up to any mischief. Not that I'm suggesting that he gets up to any mischief, but, it is amongst the panoply of possibilities. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC.
Hey,
C with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
A young, vibrant man.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Donnie. We've heard that one already.
Is he crazy, or is that just the way he acts?
Well, I don't know. Let's find out. Am I crazy, Ken, or is it just the way I act?
No, you're not crazy.
Thanks. 0345. There you are. You heard it from the word of Jesus himself. He's just channeling God. This says, Mrs. May should not go. She needs to take a rocket to the moon. Oh, she should not just go. Important word in there that I missed. Should not just go. She needs to take a rocket to the moon. Poor woman. She's been trying her best. All that shoe leather and those the patent leather kitten heels, they don't come cheap. This text says, I'm not one for religion, but I do enjoy hearing Ken speak, so please allow Ken to speak. Oh, he can speak all right, just not on this show. Ain't that right, Ken?
Well, let me allow you to speak. Listen, if you...
Okay, I'll keep listening. I'm all ears. Jim in Glasgow says, that's the most authentic-sounding Scottish accent I've heard an Englishman do. Well done, Nick. It's no big deal, Jim. I grew up in Edinburgh. Which part of Scotland are you from there, Ken? Fife, I bet.
I was born in Kilwinning, Ayrshire.
Ayrshire, like I said. This says, have you bought Doris from Onga's car yet so she can go to Eastbourne on holiday? What's the latest with your newish car? Has it recovered from surgery? It hasn't had surgery yet. It's in a garage pending legal issue. Because I could be a mug and just fix it for myself, or I could invite the people that sold it to me to fix it because, it's their duty to do so. But I expect we'll have to go to court. Oh, God. Never buy anything, like, at all. Hey, by the way, I bought a new phone, which is a big deal for me, because last time I bought a phone was about 6 years ago. Ancient, my old phone was. It was practically steam-driven. And I thought, phones are just stupidly expensive, these. This doesn't have anything to do with what I was talking about, but you'll bear with me, Ken. Are you bearing with me?
I'm bearing with you.
Okay, thanks. Just as long as you don't go, because I would hate that. Oh yeah, this is just a warning. Warning! I bought a phone which was advertised in Hong Kong at half the price that it costs in a shop in this country. I mean, phones are just ridiculously expensive, like 800 quid, 900 pounds for one of them fancy phones. I thought, I'm not paying that. I'll go on the World Wide Wait. I bet you can find something on the internet that's better than that. A robot will find it for me.
Affirmative.
And so I did, 400 quid for a, well, you're not allowed to say any brand names, so it was a Samsung S9 Plus, without mentioning any brand names, for 400 quid. I thought, get in. And then you read the small print and it says, it was weird. On the one hand, it said, all our stock is brand new, never been touched, squeezed, smelled, or pinched. And then you go way, way down, it says, all our stock is ex-display, 3-month returns, or presents that people didn't want, that kind of thing. And I was delving into the menus, just like blindly going in and following. I've got no idea what I'm doing with that or anything else that is got anything to do with technicalities.
Affirmative.
And I found somebody else's name in there. Not only their name, but their number. Somebody else's telephone number was in my phone. Worse than that, my phone thought that its number was their telephone number. How weird is that? And not that I play games at all, but I was just, I wanted to know what some app was, and I clicked it, and their game's password was there on my screen. So I thought, holy macaroni, maybe Vladimir Putin or the Chinese government have planted something surreptitious on my device, and they will be following my every move because my life's important.
No.
And that no didn't make any sense there either, did it? I'm getting everything wrong today. I think it's being closely scrutinised by you, Ken.
Well, I hope not. I'm trying to help you, my friend.
Yeah, okay, well, try harder. This is you helping. Where was I? Oh, yeah, so I thought I'll do a factory reset. Ha-ha, charade you are. That'll work. No, it doesn't work. I bet you thought that if you do a factory reset of your phone, it wipes everything that you ever put into it. Well, incorrect in every respect. No, it doesn't. All of that information was still there. The old person's phone number, the old person's passwords, everything was still on there. Factory reset my eye. But apart from that, I'm completely satisfied. I mean, at least it still works and it's not in a garage in 1,000 different bits. Shocking. Anyway. James in Guildford says, if we're really quiet, I can hear Brian from Stockton-on-Tees dialing up your super show. If he does, I'm going to put him on with Ken and they can fight it out to the death. Let's hope so. Why are you so unpatriotic, Nick? Have you accepted Jesus into your life, Nick? Hey, Ken, have you accepted Jesus into your life?
Oh, 37 years ago.
But has Jesus accepted you into his?
Oh, yes.
No, well, you don't know that. That's presumptuous. Very presumptuous to assume that. Linda says, Theresa May should hang her head in shame, and that goes for the whole political system. It is all one big gravy train. Disgusted. Well, if you really want to talk about that for a moment, there was this MP's expenses thing that has just come around again. The MP's expenses thing has just come around again. Can you believe that?
Yes.
You remember the MP's expenses scandal that took up all of the papers that weren't about sport? Well, you'd expect that they'd learned their lesson. This, by the way, is a sidetrack. I will come back to what I was talking about at some point in the future. Is that okay for you, Ken?
Yes, sir.
I can't believe he's still there. In his place, I would have hung up long ago. But bless you for staying, Ken. I appreciate it. He's still talking. Well, anyway, the expenses, the MP's expenses scandal, whatever you want to call it, it's back. You would have expected that they'd learn their lesson. And they did. Their lesson is that they can get away with it. They were caught with their hands in the till, and as I predicted at the time, wind the tape back, I think you'll find that I was correct. Their wages went up because of the expenses scandal, not down. So they must have thought, hey, if at first you succeed, just keep doing the same thing, because that'll succeed more. And so we find that MPs are boosting their expenses payments by claiming for children who are 18 years and over. They're not children. Rules introduced in 2017 allow them to claim up to £5,400 per child that they support in a second home. It was apparently originally intended to help MPs with children to rent bigger homes. But some of them use it to claim for children who are in their 20s and older. Good grief. Well, I'm an adult child that's much older than that. Can I get some free money?
No.
No? Energy Minister Claire Perry was said to have claimed £9,846 on top of her £22,760 standard allowance by citing her 3 children, ages 17, 19 and 22. Energy Minister Claire Perry earns, get ready, £111,148 a year. What? Apparently not enough. And she insisted that all claims were made in accordance with the Expenses Watchdog, the Independent Parliamentary Standards Authority. Which sounds like what Amazon put out whenever they're asked politely why they have paid so little in tax on the billions that they earn that we end up owing them money. We pay all the taxes that are legally due in every jurisdiction in which we operate. Like robots, they say it. The age limit when claiming for children is 18, apparently, rising to 21 for certain exemptions, such as a person in full-time education who requires care, for instance. 5 other MPs are also reportedly claiming allowances for adult children. 2 apparently agreed to return the money, voluntarily, out of the goodness of their hearts. Can you believe that?
No.
And when asked by a concerned citizen about this, the Independent Parliamentary Standards Authority was unable to say who had broken the rules and appeared to rely on the MP's own words. We are relying on their honesty. Sir Alistair Graham, former chairman of the Parliamentary Standards Committee, said, He said, one despairs that after 10 years MPs have not learnt the fundamental ethical lessons of the 2009 scandal over expenses. Well, like I said, Your Sirship, they have learned their lessons. And the lesson is that they can get away with it. But don't be under any illusions. The rules have been overhauled since we first started reading about this ages ago. Politicians were previously allowed to claim up to 24 grand for the interest payments on mortgages for the additional properties, which sounded like a bit of a racket. You come down here, and then you buy a place, and then we, poor dopes who pay taxes, pay their mortgage on it. So they stopped that. New rules ban this and allow MPs only to claim rent. And I thought about that for about 10 seconds. And I thought, if I was one of their number, I would rent out my own home and claim the rent back on a place that I moved into. And then the money would still come pouring in. I mean, if you can't claim on a mortgage directly, simply rent out the mortgaged house, and then the rent will pay that mortgage, and then move into a home that you can claim the rent on. I mean, the end result's the same. It's just a bit of a workaround. Now, I don't know if that's possible under the rules, but would you be surprised if it wasn't?
No.
That didn't make sense either. Would you be surprised if it was? I think it's because I'm being scrutinised by you, Ken. I'm getting it all wrong, mate. It's all your fault. What have you got to say for yourself?
Well, I don't get interested in such things.
Okay. And this money ain't no small change. The second home rent allowance is £22,000 a year. 22 grand in rent per year they're allowed. And the allowance per child was doubled, pretty much, from more than doubled. 2,400 it used to be. Now it's 5,400. It's almost worth having one of those wailing, pooping things just to get the cash. And it all adds up. An MP with 3 dependent children could get 40 grand a year to rent a second home in London. But don't you try this at home, because you will go to jail. These people will go to the House of Lords. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. Look, it's 10:30. The news headlines on LBC with Zora Solomon.
Labour. LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
What in blazes goes on inside that head of yours?
I've got no idea, but the Lord knows. Isn't that right, Ken?
Go ahead, Nick.
No, I've gone ahead.
You're just cutting me off when you just asked
Yeah, well, you know what's on my board? You know what the subject that you called in about, that I've been instructed? Nick Abbott is the Antichrist. That's what you said, isn't it?
No, I said you are Antichrist. You're not the Antichrist. You're an Antichrist.
Okay, now, wait a minute. See, there's a big difference there. What are you doing?
Me?
Yeah, you... Who, me? Yes, you. It says on my board here that Ken wanted to say that Nick Abbott is the Antichrist. But that's not what he's saying at all. He's saying, I am Antichrist. That ain't true, Ken. I'm just anti-you. I'm anti being preached to people who think, for some unfathomable reason, that they speak the word of the Lord, as though he is speaking through them. Get over yourself, Ken. You may have accepted the Lord into your heart, but I'm not entirely sure that the Lord has accepted you into his or hers. Sexist. Anyway, Ken, you delighted us enough. I'll let you go. Dowling Hope says, have you heard it's now official? God backs the Green Party. Ask Ken. Ken who? Oh, that Ken. And so that was the first thing he said to you.
He said Nick Abbott's the Antichrist.
The Antichrist. Okay, so you're lying, Ken. You know what Jesus would think about that? I believe that you are. Well, one of you are. Oh, wait a minute, I'm going to sneeze. Oh, I hate that. You're just about to sneeze and then you don't. That's God punishing me. Alan in St Leonard's on Sea says, we got the orange nightmare in the White House and soon we could have a clown in Downing Street. God, we need help, or maybe ask Ken. Can you put in a good word for us, Ken? Don says, please let Ken speak. We love him. No, you don't. No, you don't. You absolutely do not love him. You might like the accent. This is a tip. People should, if you are intending on opening up a call centre, then do so in just to the north of Edinburgh, because that bar, it's very engaging. Not in Glasgow. That would be a big mistake. No offence. This says, is Ken staying with us until 1 a.m? Well, that's he's not staying on the show, but whether he is with us is up to the Lord, I expect. And Tom says, an emu escaping from a care home. Is that the funniest thing ever? It's a little bit, yeah. It's a 4-foot bird. People who see a 4-foot bird are asked to report it to the authorities. Just call them up and say... That is truly weird. And this says, your newsreader Zora Suleiman deserves a plug for some of her and finally stories. Yeah, I think so. Neil says, remember fifers have shorty arms and long pockets. By the way, are you still kick the Ramona can down the road? Does that make sense?
No.
Are you still kick the Ramona can down the road? I've no idea what that means. Do you know what that means, Ken?
No idea.
No. Steve says, ask Ken what he thinks about the emu. And an emu for member of the European Parliament. Well, it would fit right in. I mean, some of the cranks that we send to the European Parliament. We apologise. Sorry about that whole cranks issue.
I am very sorry that I screwed up. Totally I mean, I am so sorry. You just don't know how sorry I am. I'm sorry.
Yeah, okay. It's time to go. Thanks a lot, Ken. I can't leave you hanging all night long. Hanging on the telephone like a Blondie.
Rock and roll!
Gateshead. Hello, Mike.
Hello, Nick.
Mike. You seem very upset, Mike. Are you down? Depressed?
Yeah, because... Yeah,
is it Brexit?
No, it's nothing to do with Brexit.
Right.
I'm just worried about why you're picking on Ken.
Why I'm picking on Ken? A man who called in to tell me that I was the Antichrist?
More like anti-technology with our board you've got going on there, because it doesn't seem to work for you.
No, it's not. It's fine. It's the user error. I think you'll find.
Affirmative.
Uxbridge. Hey, Uxbridge. That's my old stamping ground. I used to stamp there a lot. Let's see if I can try that again. You've got to hit these screens really hard. Lewis.
Louis, you need to get it right, mate. It's been several times I called in, and you still keep calling me.
Well, it may be an important event in your life for Lewis, calling this show, but believe me, you're just another caller to me. I'll forget you the moment you hang up on me.
Fair play.
Or actually, during this call, I might forget you.
fair play, but it's Louis with the soft S, so you could actually mispronounce it as Lewis. I could get away with either or if I wanted to. Now, I wanted to bring you back on the point with your mobile phone not working, and I think I can actually...
No, it works. It does work. It's just got somebody else's passwords and phone number in there, which is alarming for anybody that has tried a factory reset of their phone and then given it to somebody else thinking it's wiped all of their information. No, it hasn't.
Well, that's right. And then with that in mind, if you know the Consumer Rights Act like I do, I have my own business called Dysfunctional, like you said earlier on, meaning not operating or working properly, or goods have to be of satisfactory quality.
Yeah.
Every contract to supply goods is treated, including the term that the quality is of good satisfactory quality, which yours is not. So you can actually claim back some money for that off the service provider.
Yeah, I'll do that straight away. I bought it from a company in Hong Kong.
Oh, well, it says it all then, doesn't it? Back to the.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, it says it all, really. I won't delve into.
Wow, that's the most offensive thing I've ever heard. Go ahead.
Back onto the point of Ken. I grew up in a family that was, devout Catholics, and then when I got to the age of sort of 16, I thought, what a load of cobblers this is. He's not helping me at all. He's not helping anyone. Things are just getting worse every day. That's why I'm sitting back enjoying your company with a bottle of E&J brandy, and don't like the likes of Ken preaching to the choir.
E&J brandy, I'd never heard of it, but I'm sure it's excellent in every regard. Good to the last drop, I bet.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's,
the breakfast of champions.
The breakfast of champions. That's a pint of Stella, that is.
Is it?
It is, yeah.
Right, a pint of Stella and a chaser. It's the only way to start the day. Yeah. All right, thanks a lot, Lewis. Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. Robert in Upchurch says, why have you bought a phone for £400, which is more than you spent on your last car? Well, maybe I should have spent more than £400 on a car, yeah. You're probably right. That was the first of my many, many mistakes. Gaz says, an emu is a bird on the run in Dumfries. An emu bird is on the run in Dumfries. I know, I've just said that. Didn't I just say that? This is the weirdest show I think I've ever done. Can you believe that this is the only thing on LBC at the moment?
No.
This says, Charlton have just made it through to the playoff final at Wembley against Sunderland. Well, that's great. Enjoy. And this says, next time can you say that we're going to the news and then switch to Ken? You could give us the news from the 5th century. Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah, Theresa May's various travails. Poor Theresa. Some Tories want her to stay. Some just can't wait till she goes. And the people who wanted to stay say, ain't going to make never mind who's the leader of the pack, because it's not going to solve the Brexit conundrum. Changing the pilot doesn't change the weather, said one MP to Mail Online, which is cute. Especially if that new pilot looks like he's just slept off a hangover in a skip.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Meanwhile, Mrs. M is insisting that she won't quit. She just will not go. Like a limpet, she's clinging onto that job. She ain't going to quit until her deal on Brexit is passed. And she was having chit-chats with Labour until that hit the buffers. More than 100 Tory MPs are predicted to vote against the EU withdrawal agreement bill, which was defeated by 58 votes in March. Over and over and over again, she says, would you like... here you are. How about this? And over and over and over, they say...
No.
And furthermore...
No.
But we're going to get it again. Around it comes again. Kind of exciting, isn't it? Meh. If she doesn't get it around this, if she didn't get it through this time around, well, that's it. Game's over. And with you-know-who breathing down her neck, well, anything is possible in the next 5 minutes. We're actually living through this right now. People are going to be writing about this period in history from now until the end of time, which, if Donald Trump gets his Third World War, should be any moment now. Setting Iran up for World War III, just for a little light war. as is entirely predictable. What will bring the country around and even an unpopular president? Killing some foreigners. Works every time. Anyway, I'll get to that as well. 0345 606 0973. Text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC. Let me just remind you about my podcast, which is available on the World Wide Web. Specifically, if you've got a phone, whether you bought it from Hong Kong and it's got somebody else's details in it or not, don't make no, never mind. If you download a global player from your app store, then you'll find the stuff in there will keep you amused forever. It's got all of our stations, including this one right here. You can listen back to shows that go out during the course of the year, of the week rather, and podcasts are available, and mine in among them. Just to scroll down to the global podcasts and then scroll way over to the right and you'll find mine is right at the end there in a darkened room in a locked door, making it easier to find. If you don't do phones, then if you do puting, then you can find it by just doing a search on The Nick Abbott Habit. It's available wherever they give away podcasts. Ask for it by name, The Nick Abbott Habit.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
I've got absolutely no idea. Robert in Upchurch says, why have you bought... No, I've read that. Chris says, please do not keep mocking Ken. He speaks more truth than any of the media now. Oh, my... Really? Is that actually what you believe, Chris, or are you just trolling me? Back under your bridge, troll. Ken, who called in to say that I was the Antichrist, he speaks more truth than any of the media now, says Chris. Wow, the stupid is strong with this one. Jim in Aberdeen says, please get someone to make a compilation of some of Zora's closing stories. Some of them are classic. Her ability to maintain composure with some of them is riveting. Chris says, the only way I will ever vote Tory again is if they pick a proper Brexiteer as a leader who will take us out on a no-deal WTO. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 exclamation marks and a lot of the capital letters, like he's shouting at me. When it does rather imply that what he knows about WTO, you could write in the back of a penny. And Mike in West Bromwich says, emus are very dangerous, just ask Michael Parkinson. Yeah, it's dangerous to your memory, because pretty much the only thing that anybody ever remembers about Michael Parkinson is he got attacked by an emu, and Billy Connolly was funny. Michael Parkinson just had to sit there and Billy Connolly would be funny. It's no great skill. Let's have Canning Town. Hello, Ruben.
Hi, Nick.
Ruben.
I think Ken deserves the award for Call of the Year, and we're only in May.
We're only in May, yeah.
I think he deserves it. It
well,
was a Brian.
Yeah, his reward will come in the next life.
Oh, God. Nick, I think this might shock you. I think Theresa May...
Ruben, please speak directly into the phone.
Can you hear me?
I can now.
I think Theresa May should, before she leaves, because obviously the next vote the Parliament will vote against it. The next try she would do.
Yeah, maybe.
I think she should just revoke Article 50 before she goes.
Right.
That's really the best option in this case, in this scenario, because she will go, and it's just, like the MPs are saying now, just going to be replacing for another person who's going to do the same nonsense that she's doing. Well, she's not doing nonsense. She's genuinely.
Yeah, I think she genuinely is trying her very best to get this over the line.
But nobody's ever going to be pleased. And the harsh reality is, in this country, the Brexiteers are just afraid of more democracy, because we had democracy.
Petrified. They think that they've won the lottery, that somebody has gifted them an improvement to their life, and they want to see it through. That's why they're so adamant about it, is because they believed all the lies about your life is going to get better, and there's going to be fewer foreigners, and you're going to get paid more, and your personal area will get larger. But it might not necessarily be true.
And we're still in 1944 fighting Germany.
Oh, God. I mean, you speak to some people and Hitler comes up in the first sentence.
But I generally don't see what the next stage is. If she revokes Article 50, she really opens up the doors for people like Boris Johnson to come in and let's see what you got. Because right now...
What does that mean? It's going to be a stand-up fight in number 10. Revoke Article 50 and pour some milk into the carpet while she's at it. And hide a couple of kippers where people won't be able to find... Not you kippers, I mean actual kippers, fish, smelly fish where people won't be able to find it. They'll be able to smell it, but they won't be able to wheedle it out.
Yeah, I just don't see what's the next stage here, Nick. What do you think?
Well, all bets are off, and we've got no idea what might happen in the next 5 minutes. But it's all going to come to a head relatively soon, in the next couple of weeks.
Maybe we can ask Ken.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, good idea. Leave it with me, Ruben. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. At this point, even God's shrugging his shoulders, going, I don't know. Rob says, I'll kick Ramona Can up the high road. You know the rest of the song. Yeah, well, I ain't singing it. That's for sure. David in Teddington says, maybe Ken the Divine is drawn to you because of your religious surname. Ben in Macclesfield says, the year is 2135. Man has established a colony on Mars. Advances in medical science have provided the cure to cancer. World poverty has been eradicated. Everyone owns a solar-powered car. Humanity has excelled in every way. The world has advanced and the future is bliss. And Theresa May is asking MPs to vote on her withdrawal agreement for the 894th time. Poor Mrs. M. Don't worry, Mrs. M. It'll all be over soon. She'll be able to go home and kick the cat. I have no idea whether she's got a cat or not, but even if she did, she certainly wouldn't be kicking it, especially in those shoes. Could be fatal to her. And this says, you are a Tory unionist plant to force through Brexit. You are an ultra-horrible right-winger. Yes, almost certainly a troll, or they've never heard this programme before. On the podcast, I put a call in from somebody who rang in to complain that I wasn't taking Brexit seriously and that I was making light of it. And he was properly furious. And we had a massive row about it, which I have included on the podcast this week. A reminder, it's called the Nick Abbot Habit. You can hear it on Global Player if you download the app from your app store, or it's available wherever they give podcasts away. The Nick Abbott Habit, if you want to hear me having a massive row with a bloke who didn't think that I was taking Brexit seriously, presumably having never heard this show before. Do I take anything seriously?
No.
Wayne says, Nick, for goodness sake, write on the back of a postage stamp, not a penny, flipping idiot. No wonder you've got a £400 car. Well, what's the difference? You can write on a penny. You could write on a penny with a Sharpie. You wouldn't get much on it, and that's the whole point of me saying that. It's not a law that phrase has to include postage stamp. Could be anything small, you idiot. God, I'm having to wade through just a morass of idiocy on this show, which fits right in. You can't tell where I stop and the idiocy starts, right? This says, Jesus wants a WTO Brexit. Nah, come on. Another, did Ken hack your phone and install a direct line to Jesus? And this says, do you think Ken is still talking when you turn his mic down? I know he was, because when I turned it up, he was still talking. He's left us now, not left us entirely. Let's hope so. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that it's a long and fruitful, long. It's a long life. Theresa May should hang her head in shame, and that goes for the whole political system. It's one big gravy train. Disgusted, said Linda. Well, you want to talk about gravy trains? Because I have for full detailed files on top of all of that information, that vital and very important information that I gave some a while ago. I've got, there's more to it, because they get official credit cards. Did you know that? And they've been abusing them, which is no surprise, right? Hey, now I know what that gap is. There's been a gap in this podcast, in this sound effects page, and I've been wondering what is missing there. And now I know what it is. It's that woman saying disgusting, which I use a lot, so I'm going to have to get that back. Why is it gone? Things just keep falling off all the time, like both this page and me personally. You know, you get to a certain age, and it's difficult to keep all your bits in one place, am I right? 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. So I want to talk a little bit more about Theresa May's various travails. And there were some interesting polling numbers that came out, which are not quite what you have heard over and over again, because there's a certain individual who keeps banging on and on about how fabulously popular he is, and it's not quite the picture that he is painting. So I'll come to that in a minute. Also, there was another poll which rather suggests that all polls are wrong because they're asking people what they think, and people don't have any idea what they think.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Yes, hello. I've been waiting for you. Hello.
Hello. This says, oh, can you get Ken back on, please? I missed all. No, absolutely not. No. Ken's not coming back on. Not on this show. And the Giles in Enfield says, nothing worse than snooty atheists who think they know everything. Yes, Giles, there is. There's people who don the mantle of superiority because they believe some story that was made up thousands of years ago. There's plenty worse than snooty atheists. It's snooty people who are of a religious bent and are convinced that God has decided to speak through them. How superior can you possibly get? It's plenty worse than snooty atheists, Giles. Take a look in the mirror. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Watford. Hello, Andrew.
Hello. Yeah, MPs, it's do as I say, don't do as I do sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, you just don't do what they do, because if you do what they do, you'll end up in prison for 50 years, and if you do what they say, you're fine.
Right. Yeah, so keep your nose clean and think about that going forwards. All right, thanks a lot, Andrew. 0345 6060 973. Meanwhile, more than 100 Tory MPs are predicted to vote against the EU withdrawal bill, which was defeated by 58 votes in March. Again and again and again she's bringing it up because she wants to get it over the line before she has to say goodbye. And with the Brexit Party expecting to hammer the Conservatives in the European elections on May the 23rd and a Brexit deal being dead in weeks, quite possibly, grassroots members are planning a vote of no confidence. Do they have confidence?
No.
How's being a Prime Minister going for you so far, Mrs M?
Oh, fabulous.
Prominent Brexiteer Marc Francois showed up. Oh, you know what else is missing? Oh, no. Oh, no. I'm going to have to write this stuff down. Why is it missing? Who's been interfering with my stuff here? Perhaps it's the Lord, Nick. Prominent Brexit... I'll have to do the sound effects myself. Prominent Brexiteer Marc Francois showed up. Oh, no. He predicted that poor Tory showing in next week's European Parliament elections would heap pressure on Mrs M to go. You remember prominent Brexiteer Marc Francois, don't you? Yeah, that's the fella. He said, I was in the army and we weren't trained to have a poor showing at the European elections. We don't like it uppers, he said. And then he donned his pith helmet, shouldered his broom and quick marched as fast as his fat little legs would take him. What a magnificent military sight he is. It's going to be a big ask to get her deal through. Tory hardliners, the DUP, RRR and Labour all lined up to say they will not vote for Mrs N. They're going to vote it down a fourth time. And as Parliament can't seem to agree on a way forward, Brexit might be off. What? That's right. If they can't agree, then what are we going to do? That's what Brexit Secretary Brexit Secretary Steve Barclay and International Trade Secretary Liam Fox said. They actually said that out loud. Another rejection of Mrs M's little scheme could be ultimate to Brexit being cancelled altogether. And those who have called up my show by the dozens to tell me, a Ramona, and they'll say something stupid like, you lost, get over it. They will be able to hear me say, you lost, you get over it. See, I can be just as stupid as you are. More so.
Correct.
Mrs M's going to make a final attempt to pass her Brexit deal in just over a fortnight. But I hope she gets it done, and then we can start to report on all the fabulous things that come from being out of the EU. You know, all the freedoms that we will have, like, we won't have to do all the things that they have forced on us, like, the EU laws that have been holding us back, like, well, I'm sure there's something. I can't think of anything at the moment, but it doesn't prevent me from having a strong opinion. And the executive body of the 1922 committee of backbench Tory MPs will meet Mrs M, and they'll decide on whether to change the party's leadership rules and allow a fresh contest that could see her forced out within weeks. Did you get that? A fresh contest. Because they tried it already, remember? That monocle on the shooting stick tried to get her out. That ineffectual top hat tried to unseat her and failed. Haven't heard from him in a couple of days. Are we missing him?
Negative.
Not really. So they've tried and failed to unseat Theresa May. And the rules are, if you try, you've got to wait another year to have another go. And they're considering changing the leadership rules to allow a fresh contest that could see her forced out within weeks. So they tried to get her out in a vote, and they lost that vote. And now they want to change the rules to have another vote. Isn't that the exact same thing they've been complaining about a second referendum being? Last month, members voted by 9-7 against changing the rules to allow a fresh vote of confidence in Mrs M's leadership. Otherwise, they'd have to wait a year to vote again, which would be December. But the people who don't want a second referendum because it would be anti-democratic want a second vote on the PM because they lost the first. Honestly, can these people actually hear themselves? Get a box of ear trumpets to the offices of the 1922 committee. You'll have to knock loudly or use the bell. Sir Geoffrey Clifton Brown, treasurer of the 1922 committee, said, and the chairman, Sir Graham Brady, said, So they're going to have to vote on the withdrawal agreement again in the beginning of the week on June the 3rd, which is coming right up, and Mrs M urged MPs on all sides to back the deal, and the best of luck with that. And as we prepare for the departure of an unfortunate Prime Minister, unfortunately, Boris Johnson broke cover to confirm that he's going to stand to replace her in the top job. He's had his hair cut and everything. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
0345 6060 973. You can text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbot, LBC. Let's have, who's been waiting the longest? Be totally fair about this. Glasgow. Hello, Mark.
Hi, Nick. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
I was calling up about the MP's expenses. Stunned to hear about how it's still going on.
Oh, come on, Mark. You're not stunned at all.
Well, it is stunning when you hear about...
You'd be stunned.
22-year-old juveniles getting claimed for...
Be honest, Mark. You would be stunned if they weren't still at it, wouldn't you? Yes.
Yes. I suppose I would, but...
Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to ask you, when they get these money for the second homes, and are they renting these homes out, or are us poor saps actually giving them money for mortgages, and do they keep those homes at the end of it?
Well, no, it used to be that they could charge us for the mortgage of a place that they bought, claiming that they needed to buy this place to be nearer to Parliament. So they came from, representing the good people of Glasgow. And they needed to buy, they were absolutely forced to buy a place in London's fashionable West End in order to, be close to their place of work. But they stopped that. And now the rule is that you can only claim rent. So, like I said before, a workaround, maybe, I don't know if they're doing this, but if they are, then eventually we'll find out about it, like years later, after they've all trousered massive amounts. But if they just rented out their own place on which they have a mortgage, then the renter would pay their mortgage. And then they could then rent another house that they could move into. And we would pay that rent. So their mortgage would still be being paid. It's just that we wouldn't be directly paying it. It's just a workaround. Now, again, I don't know if anyone's doing that, but that was my first thought.
I was thinking that if they're going to hire... I take it all these places are in and around Westminster. Why would it not be better if they had to... The homes that they're renting, buying, whatever... would be on the outskirts of London, that they had maybe an hour and a half commute so they could use the wonderful trains that they keep on talking about, and then they'd maybe have to get a flavour of what everybody else has to put up with. And shock horror, maybe they could use their wages, because I use my wages to get to work, maybe they could use their wages to buy a season ticket. And then they'd be doing what the rest of us do. We've used for wages for expenses.
Well, that
but
sounds
why
like...
do they get to claim expenses for, everything?
Because they're the ones that make the rules. I think you'll find that is right. If you made the rules, Mark, you'd be considerably richer than you are now. Am I right? Yes.
I think I'm going to have to retrain to be a politician.
Exactly. Okay, well, the best of luck with that.
Yeah.
What are your opinions on the issues?
My opinions on issues are very... You've gave a lot of issues tonight, Nick. The Tories not...
No, I wasn't asking for an actual response. Just say whatever it is that you think is what I think, and I will work to do my very best in order to further your wishes and your dreams. Something like that. Something wishy-washy like that. And you'll get my vote. How does that sound?
Well, you'll need your bleep button.
Right. Okay. All right. I'll have it on standby. Thanks for the warning. Cheers, Mark. 0345 6060 973. Philip says, unbelievable that presenters on LBC like this Abbot chap, I think you mean this so-called Abbot chap, are still claiming a WTO Brexit would have any benefits. When did I ever say that? When did I ever say that WTO would have benefits? I've always said the opposite of that. People just don't listen, do they? They're sitting on the edge of their seats, desperate to take offence about something, because that would mean that the spotlight is suddenly swiveled upon them. That's why people complain about stuff all the time. It's because they just want the spotlight on them. They want attention. I'm still claiming a WTO Brexit would have any benefits. I've never said that. But it doesn't prevent you from... and that's two people. Philip says What's going on here?
I think they've got you confused with someone.
Philip says, get this, unbelievable that presenters on LBC like this Abbot chap are still claiming a WTO Brexit would have any benefits. Absolutely no evidence. We need to revoke Article 50. That's what Philip says. Noel says, unbelievable that presenters on LBC like this Abbot chap are still claiming a WTO Brexit would have any benefits. Absolutely no evidence. We need to revoke Article 50. Coincidence?
Yes.
A little bit. Another faker, Philip or Noel, or whatever your name may or may not be. Lynn says, that texter who labelled you as right-wing must be off his trolley. All those regulars know that you and James O'Brien are the liberal leftists from hell. Thank you, she says. No, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Have I taken a break? I haven't. Well, that's clearly a misdeed on my part, and I'm blaming you, my glamorous assistant. I expect it's all your fault. 0345 6060 973, Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC, leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbott.
Don't touch me, or I'll kill you.
I mean it. Jess in Croydon says WTO rules would lead to absolute chaos in the insurance industry, as the UK's right to sell insurance to the EU would not be automatic. Right. Well, working in insurance, that must be that must be fascinating. Lewis in Blackheath says, can't believe that Nick Abbott keeps promoting Boris Johnson for PM and wants us to leave with no deal. Typical LBC right-winger. Okay, so if you're new to this game, these people are actually joking. Richard says, Aston Villa doing well at the moment. Steve Allen must be happy. Really? Are the two things connected? They are. Is Steve Allen a footy fan?
Allegedly Aston Villa.
Right. Okay, then. I'm not sure that purple is his colour.
No, doesn't seem like it.
No, not really. Paul says, when the hair gets serious, the rest of Boris will sure to follow. No, it isn't. He was photographed today on some child's seesaw, waving a flag. You look just as good as always, bozo.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
I can't believe it. This says, can you get Ken on? Ken back on, please. I missed all the fun. No, I cannot. But you will be able to listen to it on the podcast catch-up on Global Player. Download it from an app store near you. And Dorothy in Potter's Bar says, can you get Uncle Nigel back on, please? No. Uncle Nigel's busy. He's busy complaining about going on a television show where he was going to be asked questions, and they asked him a question that he hadn't prepared the answer to. Yeah, hey, Nigel.
Stop whining.
I can't believe it. That was pathetic. Oh, this is the most ridiculous interview ever. I mean, really. You go on a show and you expect to only be asked the questions that you have learned the answers to beforehand. You got them off pat. And you don't expect to get asked questions about policy that you have previously expounded. Come off it. But other than that, it was a great show.
I'm a nutcase.
This says, I've not heard you talk about Donald Trump tonight. What the hell's going on? Well, there's just been too many issues that I've been discussing. What with that whole God thing and all the rest of it. But there's plenty to talk about Donald Trump, and if I don't talk about him tonight, then I've got to talk about him tomorrow before the Jaw finishes. And the war starts.
I'll bring us into war.
Because I believe that he's going to bring us into war. It's not like we didn't have advance notice of it.
I'll bring us into war.
Yeah. That's what he said. We knew he was a snake before he let us in. We let him in. No, whatever that quote is. Never mind. Keith in Belfast says, did you add that lady who couldn't quite hear you talking to her and she abruptly said sorry to your soundboard? Can we hear more of her? No, that's all I got. But she is in my podcast, by the way. She was excellent. It was an excellent call. It's one of the calls that are in my podcast. There's another from Doris talking about a crazy woman next door who waters her plastic lawn, and how to brush your teeth without ruining the planet. And that was this lady here.
Yes, hello. I've been waiting for you. Hello.
So it's like the best of this show and some extra bits as well. The podcast called The Nick Abbott Habit. Ask for it by name. Let's have Newcastle. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Paul.
Is that Teresa on the other line? I just thought I've just been cut off. I thought she sounded a little bit bewildered and unbalanced. But
bewildered and unbalanced. It sounds like this program, yes.
Yes, yeah. Well, I was just trying to give her a little bit of advice about her maladjustment and obviously heightened tension.
Her maladjustment?
Yeah, and equilibrium is a word I've just learned, actually. But another one as well, WTO, which I just mentioned to Boris.
Equilibrium. EKWILIBERLIM. Equilibrium.
Yes. And WTO, which I mentioned to Boris, and he thought it meant what's the obvious, but never the twain.
What?
I think they're just one and the same, aren't they? Really?
Who?
But Boris and Theresa. But moving on, I mean, May and Corbyn's little sort of fiasco this week reminds me of Tito and Stalin. You know, they did a little dance, but.
Tito, didn't they do that song Africa?
Rock and roll!
Yeah, I think it was Tito.
Yeah, so I think they got together for a little bit of a jig, but it wasn't as good as Theresa's. And well, you never know. I haven't watched the that little program they do in Israel.
Okay, all right. As soon as you have another thought, let me know straight away. Thanks a lot, Paul. For listeners with material, 0345 6060 973. Steve Allen says, you want to leave on WTO terms, Nick. You know, I bumped into Steve Allen the other day and he said, God, these callers. that won't be, that's not talking out of school. All of these people, last time I was on, and says, Steve Allen says this about you and Steve Allen says that about you. No, he does not say anything of the sort. So shut up about it. This says, Steve Allen's Bentley is purple. I bet it doesn't. I bet purple is not a colour that you can ordinarily order a Bentley in. But they'll probably do it for you if you insist and, pay. There is that. This says, don't forget the poll. No, there was a poll out. Well, a couple of polls. Three polls, in fact. Would you like to hear about the 3 polls?
No.
Okay, then. They don't make good reading if you are a member of any of the major parties. But then again, they don't make great reading if you are a member of a neophyte party. Is neophyte the right word? Well, it could be. I'll look it up later, when it's too late. So I'll get to that in a minute. But there was also a poll about, which makes you think that maybe we should just stop asking people what they think, entirely. I've met people. I'm not that impressed. So I'll come to that in a while as well. But I don't want to try and squeeze it in before the new news, because it's only a couple of minutes away. Dark Robin Rising tweets, why is Nick Abbott singing the praises of a WTO Brexit when his mate James O'Brien has worked so hard to poo-poo it? I don't know which show you people are listening to. I have never said anything positive about the WTO rules at all, ever. I mean, I've got detailed files. If you really want me to get them out and go through it... Boring! Okay, I'll take that as a no. I think it would be catastrophic, particularly, by the way, for specifically for 2 groups of people. Farmers... British farming will fall flat in its face and die. It'll die like a cow with a bolt through its forehead, as in straight away. And it will also significantly disadvantage the poor. But then, what doesn't? If you're rich, you'll be just fine, regardless of what kind of Brexit we have. the monocle on a stick will get his nanny to go down to Fortnum's and buy anything he wants. He'll still be able to afford it after Brexit. You, on the other hand, perhaps not. And those that voted for it the most are going to suffer the most. But, that's the nature of being conned, I suppose. Do you ever feel like you've been conned? A little bit, every now and again. I think that if you get Johnny Rotten on the phone, he will explain it to us. He'll probably shout it to us, as is his wont. Paul in Newcastle is still talking away to himself, is he? is he? Oh, Paul, we've moved on, mate. We moved on what seemed like hours ago. But do continue to talk to yourself. I fully support you in that endeavour. Just don't talk to me anymore. 03456, unless that's an unkind thing to say, in which case I withdraw it. 0345 6060 973, Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 11:30, the news headlines with Zora Sullivan.
Is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
I am not one of your fans!
Zach emails, your ears must have been burning all week as you were one of Steve Allen's pet topics, insisting that you were rolling in it. He told us he was planning on having firm words with you. I'd pay good money to hear you both in a handover. By the way, your glamorous assistant sounds very sexy. Well, sounds can be deceptive. I think you'll find that is correct. Neil in Edinburgh emails, stop whining on about your Gravy Train podcast. Well, two things. A, no. And B, what do you mean Gravy Train? What do you think I'm making a lot of money out of my podcast? Are you kidding me? I make just enough to pay for the train fare in and out to record the blooming thing. And I will not go whining on. I'm not whining on. Like banging on would be more appropriate. Because I mention it once an hour. It's called advertising, you numpty. You tutor. You believe that? David in Crewe says, can you say snood in a Scottish accent, please? Why? That sounds like a trap. Yeah, so just, I don't know. I'm thinking...
Warning!
Yeah, it may actually be a trap. So, no, I won't do that. You know, like a trap in Star Wars. It's a trap. This says, Higgs says, stop belittling people called bozo. No. And so on. I'll get to more of those later. But first, here's a very important call in Lewisham. Hello, Barry.
Hi there. Good evening. Scott.
Hello there.
Hi there. How you doing?
Good, thanks.
Long time. You sound like you're getting impatient.
Who, me?
Run out of patience.
I'm having a super time. What are you kidding?
No, it sounds like you're losing patience with people. You're not taking as much nonsense as you used to.
Yeah.
And you shut.
Well, I've only got a 3-hour show. I can only pack so much nonsense in. I bring a lot of it myself, and which lessens the time for other people's nonsense.
Do you know what? I've been trying not to call up because I've been fed up with the nonsense.
Thank goodness for that.
Yeah, I know, but people have had enough of me. But Nigel Farage, I've got a couple of quick points to make. Nigel Farage, that week he was on TV 3 times.
Oh,
yeah,
not
3
enough
times.
in Nigel Farage's opinion.
No, never enough. And he was asked effectively each time he was asked for plans. On Sky News, he was asked how are we going to leave with no deal. But it doesn't matter. I don't need to tell you. I'll tell you after you elect them. After you elect me, is what he said. And they said, isn't no deal, so Sophie Rich said, isn't no deal going to make us poorer? And he said, people voted for freedom. You can't put a price on freedom. Now, when a man's saying that, he's now being honest. Yeah, I mean, I found it astounding.
You can't put a price on freedom. Well, you can put a price on milk and bread and potatoes.
Exactly. That's kind of what I thought, and generally everything else that you need to buy. And for people to be saying, we want no deal, they're really not listening to what the man is saying. Do you know what I mean? And when he was asked about his, what he was asked by Andrew Marr about, details, Again,
that was absolutely comical. Him taking umbrage at being asked questions about positions on vital issues that he had previously expounded, and him throwing a fit about it was just ridiculous. I mean, what game does he think he's in? It's politics. You say something about the NHS, about how you think that the NHS should be funded and how it should go for the rest of our lives, and people have a right to ask you about it. Not just please disregard everything I've ever said on any subject.
Yes, you're forgetting that these are details, and all of the details should matter. It's the details that mean that we shouldn't just blame Theresa May, we should blame the entire Tory party. They're the ones over the past 9 years that have put us in this position. Right, is it 9 or 10? However long it's been. They've put us in this position. I mean, it's been so...
It seems like forever.
Yeah. And, I mean, now we're going to have the irony of Brexit is they're absolutely mad. They're prepared to have the Tory party vote the next Prime Minister, and they're talking about democracy.
Well, that is an interesting point, yeah. I mean, we're talking about giving Parliament back control, and Parliament won't have any control of any kind whatsoever on who's going to be the next Prime Minister, and neither will we poor dopes who pay taxes.
The most important job, bar the Queen, is the Prime Minister.
Now, wait a minute.
Well,
it goes Prime Minister, Queen? I don't think so.
No, I said no, most apart from the Queen.
Yeah,
so
but that implies that it goes Prime Minister and then Queen. Oh, no, wait, or are you saying that it's Queen first and then Prime Minister?
Yeah, that's
Queen
right.
first. She's got the most important job in the country, waving and smiling. She doesn't even smile. She just does the waving bit.
I've got an interesting story. The Queen never shook my hand. And I mean, she stood in front of me. I was very young at the time. I was 8. And they were dedicated a tree in Sydenham. And she was shaking all the little children's hands. We were all sitting there lined up.
Yeah.
And she was shaking everyone's hand. And she looked at me and she said, ew.
No, she did not.
She actually did. She said ew and didn't shake my hand. If my best friend were here now, he would tell you, because my best friend was one of these little ginger guys, right? They had dirt all over their face all the time. But she shook his hand, and she didn't.
And she looked at you and said ew.
Ew.
And did not shake your hand.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's correct. Yeah. So I don't.
Well, that's not the first unpleasant story I've heard about the rudeness expressed by the Queen.
Yeah.
Another one was really quite jaw-droppingly awful. Somebody had one of those medals that there's only so many of them. I can't remember. It's one of those funny things that she normally just throws out to members of her own family for excellence in being her son. You know.
Yes.
And when the person dies, you've got to give it back. You can't keep it. A member of the family has to come back to the palace and they've got to give it back. And she was ushered into the room, a poor woman whose husband had just died. And the Queen just looks at her and goes, it's impossible to think that somebody had been ushered into her presence without the Queen first being told who she is and why she was there. I mean, you don't just show up and wander around, do you?
Yeah.
And so the door opened and the Queen was there. And she just looked at her and go, and then what do you say? I'm here to bring back the medal from my dead husband. Can I not have a cup of tea or something?
I thought she'd at least say sorry for your loss.
Or something like that. Yeah, it doesn't actually have to mean it. I mean, people say that sort of thing. They don't mean it. They're not actually sorry for your loss, but it's just something to fill the gap in the air.
Well, she doesn't need to. Why should she?
So what was wrong with you that she wouldn't shake your hand then, Barry?
I've no idea. It turned me into a Republican. That was the moment that I became a Republican. I was only 8, and I thought, I don't like the Queen.
Yeah.
Or any of the royal
well,
family.
the feeling is entirely mutual, apparently. All right, thanks a lot, Barry. I hope you're standing while you're hearing this, even though you might not like her that much. Show respect to the crown, man. And I don't know, maybe you had bogies on your face or something. I'm with the Queen on that one. Gavin in Swanley says the only reason that Brexit has gone belly up is because for months and months Theresa May has been working out a plan for the United Kingdom to win the Eurovision Song Contest. Oh, for crying out loud. Is that thing around again? I just skimmed through the funny... Oh, God, the lights have just gone out. I expect that's Vladimir Putin getting his own back for me. Wait a minute. have to wave my arms around. That normally works. Here we go. God. Doing blooming gymnastics over here just to get the lights on. Not that I'm complaining.
Stop whining.
What was I talking about? I've got no idea now. So easily distracted. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
Are you trying to tell me that this is your act?
Sadly, yes. Enfield. Hello, John.
Oh, good evening, Nick.
Oh, God.
I thought I'd like to tell you...
it's you.
Yeah, that's right. I'd like to tell you that our power supplies are very unsafe at the moment.
Unsafe?
Yes, yes.
What do you mean unsafe? Our power supplies are unsafe. Electricity is dangerous? Is that what you're saying?
Warning, warning! I want to say first, today, a building, a high-rise building of flats in Watford caught on fire. They managed to get the people out. There was also a fire at Neasden as well, a similar thing.
Right.
And this is due...
I did not know that.
And this, yes, it's been on the news for the whole day.
It's been on the news all day, has it?
Yes, it has, on LBC.
Well, like I said, I know that.
Yeah, oh, you do know it. Well, the thing is that this caused quite a calamity and so on.
It caused a calamity?
Yes, and they've actually come to the conclusion that the investigations that they're carrying out need further investigation. They say it's rather more complicated, and I will say that because, of course, it's a short circuit on their supply with a huge...
Wait. Are you suggesting that you know what is the cause of these incidents? Because if that's what you're saying, John, then you don't know what you're talking about.
I certainly do.
Well, no, you don't. If it's just happened today, how on earth could you know what caused them?
Well, the thing is, because I've had a similar hit on my supply.
But similar is neither here nor there. You're suggesting that you have intimate knowledge of an occurrence that has happened this very day when the authorities themselves haven't even investigated it yet.
I beg your pardon?
Oh, okay. I've heard that call before. Electricity is dangerous. I'm not sure about that, John. Wet your fingers and stick them in a socket and tell me if you feel anything. Zach emails, your ears must have been burning all week as you were one of Steve Allen's pet topics. I very much doubt that. Yvonne says, you were talking about Eurovision. Oh, yeah, Eurovision. So I sort of skimmed by that story today. Eurovision. There can't be anybody that actually cares about that stupid contest anymore, is there? Because it doesn't have that that laughing and pointing at the dysfunctional, mentally ill people that comes with those so-called talent shows. Because that's what those talent shows are all about. They're not about trying to winkle out some diamond in the rough, some fabulous talent that has previously gone unremarked and we would otherwise be the poorer unless they had discovered it for us. You pick 10 people, one of them will be able to sing well enough to become a pop star. That's not what those talent shows are all about. Those talent shows are just slightly less unpleasant Jeremy Kyle shows. They're a bunch of dysfunctional and often mentally ill people, but they've got a sad story and often the mistaken illusion or the mistaken belief that they can actually sing. It's got nothing to do with talent. It's all about laughing at those less mentally able than you. Which is bizarre because the Eurovision Song Contest doesn't have that. You don't get a backstory. They just come out and sing. or whatever. Screech. rip their clothes off or play a violin while they're dancing. I can't believe that that's still on. It's just, God. Daniel says, now that Bozo will probably be voted in as PM by Brexiteers, we will have a leader whom is full of masagony. That's what it says. Masagony. Masogony. Not only is he full of masagony, but he's also full of rudeness and a total buffoon. Here, where did that go? I was reading that. He just disappeared off my screen. God, I'm having to fight with the help now. He will complete the set of world leaders full of obnoxious, devious motives. Does that make sense?
No.
Bob tweets, you need a long pole for the light switch with one of those on the end for when the lights go off. Yeah, well, maybe with just a balloon, like a long pole with a balloon. A telescopic pole that I can just wave around with a balloon on the end. Wouldn't that be great? I pay my taxes. Why can't I have one? Enfield. Hello, John.
I'm still here.
Oh, God. It's like the end of a horror film, where you think that the monster is dead. It's not dead. Not if there's 15 minutes to run for the film. There isn't. You might think that monster's gone, but it's still there, aren't you, John?
You could end up on the moon, you know.
Well, fingers crossed. Bob tweets. No, I've read that. Mick says, now that you're promoting Brexit with no deal, will you also start to praise the great President Trump? Yes, I will. I'll be turning my attention to the screaming Mimi momentarily.
Oh, shut up!
Or maybe tomorrow, because time's running out. And Martin says, since you've now been outed as the Antichrist, can I suggest a sticker or two for your car rear window so that good folk can keep their distance? That would be great, wouldn't it? If you could just put something in the back of your car that would stop people tailgating you, because you're not doing 50 in a 20 zone. That's one of the benefits of having your car in a garage, so you can't use it, is you don't drive anywhere. So relaxing. And Yvonne in Hastings says, if by a miracle Bozo became PM, will he be known by his first name? Well, it ain't no miracle. It's going to happen. Perhaps. Well, nothing is certain apart from, well, I was going to say death and taxes, but the more money you make, the less likely it is that you're actually going to have to pay your taxes. But death is absolutely certain. But that's it. But he could be our next PM. People are expecting it. He's favourite. But then look at the people that he's in competition with, and you realise why. Michael Gove, Sajid Javid, Rory Stewart. Rory Stewart. Last time I saw him on TV, he was walking down the street with his hands clasped behind his back. You know, like Prince Charles. And I thought, I bet he went to Eton. And so I looked it up. And guess what? He did. So it goes, here it is from the most to the least popular. Boris Johnson, Michael Gove, Sajid, this is, by the way, with, the Tory, the rearguard action from the Conservative Party. Backbenchers and Tory members of the party. They really love him, Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson's number one. Michael Gove, then Sajid Javid, Rory Stewart, Jeremy Hunt, Andrea Leadsom, Dominic Raab, Matt Hancock and Petty Mordaunt. Boris Johnson's the clear favourite to be the next Prime Minister, according to the first poll of Tory members since the start of the leadership contest. The former Foreign Secretary, Bozo of the FO, is the first choice to replace Mrs M among 39% of the membership. Second most popular, Dominic Raab. Oh, I got the order wrong. Dominic Raab's number is on 13. And all the other contenders on single figures. In a head-to-head runoff, Bozo, ex of the FO, resoundingly beats Dominic Raab by 59 to 41. and beats every other contender by an even bigger margin. But you know what? At the moment, it's just a contest of name recognition. Who can you recall? I mean, could you actually pick Matt Hancock out of a lineup? No. And who is Rory Stewart when he's at home? And what does he think about when he's there? Would you recognise Penny Mordaunt if she nicked your chips?
No.
Of course not. But everybody remembers Boris Johnson, so he's out in the lead. Doesn't necessarily mean he'd be the best for the job. I mean, who picked Theresa? Well, OK, maybe that's a bit of a wrong example. Yeah, I row back from that one. But these are Tory members. Imagine what the general public know about any of that lot. Boris Johnson will win because Boris Johnson is the only one that anybody's ever heard of.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
As much as you try to forget him, you just can't do it. I'm still upset that somebody let him down from that zip wire. He could still be up there if somebody hadn't let him down. I want the name of the person that let him down. 31% of Tory members think that Bozo would be a poor leader. That's including 65% of those who voted Remain. And he's less popular in London. Get this. I thought this was going to be the other way around. Guess where he is more popular? In or out of London? Well, I've given the game away. Outside London. Boris Johnson's more popular outside London. I'm amazed by that. And it says in the paper, he's more this is the Times. He says he's less popular in London than the rest of the country, despite 8 years as London Mayor. Or, as I think, perhaps because of his 8 years as London Mayor. Does that sound more likely?
Correct.
Yeah, I think so. And a wee Nicola Sturgeon, the Scottish First Minister, indicated that she would use Boris Johnson's perceived unpopularity in Scotland to argue for a second independence referendum. Oh, a second referendum.
We should have a second referendum.
She said, Boris Johnson, the guy who misled the people in Brexit, the guy who has only ever put his own interests first, as far as I can see, a complete and utter charlatan, in my opinion, says Nicola Sturgeon. I mean, she's not stating it as a fact, she's stating it as an opinion. You may think that it's a fact. I couldn't possibly comment. But Tory members think he's the most likely to win a general election. Probably, and they may well be right, because people have heard of him. They have absolutely not heard of Rory Stewart. And Andrea Leadsom, they wouldn't be able to recognise her if she smacked them in the mouth. But you know what? I almost want him to become the next Prime Minister just to see him suffer. Because what happens next is going to get owned by the Prime Minister in at the time. It looks like you're getting out just in time, Mrs M. And Tory members were asked how the candidates should approach Brexit. And I'll tell you what they think in some moments. You may also have a thought. Do you have a thought, John?
Many thoughts.
Many thoughts. Okay, keep them to yourself. I appreciate it. Thank you. 03.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Thank you for holding. Your call is important to us.
Yes, your call is important to us, Luke, in Bromley.
Hey, it worked. Hello, good evening.
What worked?
How are you doing? Well, I sent a message as a bit of a joke to say Luke's our next caller, and I am your next caller.
Oh, wow, spooky.
But anyway, oh right, so you didn't see that? Okay.
No, I did not.
Okay, well, welcome to Saturday, everybody. I'm phoning because actually I've just finished a meeting in our house, if you like. We have a sort of a Christian group on Friday nights. It's all very good, and we talk about stuff and also have a bit of a laugh.
Stuff
like life and about.
Oh, life! Don't talk to me about life.
It's basically like a real live LBC, except we have no wonderful presenter like yourself.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
give me your address and I'll be right over.
You're most welcome one night. But okay, listen. Right, no, you work Friday nights. You can't. But anyway, So I wanted to just say that one thing that we are quite happy about as Christians is that this whole Brexit...
We? You mean you?
No.
You're surely not speaking on behalf of all Christians.
Quite a few, because we pretty much go along the Brexit line.
But you just mean you, though.
Okay, I'll speak on my behalf, but I was speaking to a lot of people who have agreed this evening, and that is that all these the Brexit party and so on that's coming in and so on is actually bringing us more in line with British traditions, values, and essentially we're sort of rolling it back again a bit.
Rolling what back again?
Rolling back the liberal sort of progression that we've been seeing back in
liberal. In what do you mean by liberal progression? Because progression sounds quite good. Liberal also sounds quite good. So which bit are you complaining about?
It can be, but I think probably the fact that anything goes, anything that anyone says goes. And to be honest, I prefer to have some boundaries in life. As a Christian, obviously in the Bible, it has boundaries, and therefore we prefer to stand by those.
But what do you mean by boundaries? You mean telling other people how to live their lives?
No, we don't tell other people. It's boundaries which are written in the Bible, and we
no, but you do tell other people. Follow what we say, or the conclusions that we have drawn from reading a book that was written by persons unknown thousands of years ago, or you will burn in hell. That kind of thing. Yes.
Well, okay. Listen. No.
Well, yes or no?
Not in that way. I wouldn't be so. I wouldn't want to condemn anybody, individual people.
Really? I thought that's what religious types did all the time. I thought they lived to condemn other people.
Hello?
Hello?
Say again? Yes, I'm here. So, go on. What did you say?
What I just said. Never mind. Move on.
The mic. Yeah,
what?
Okay. You're scratching the mic every time you do that.
I'm not scratching anything other than my head at the moment.
Fine. So what's the most important thing to you then, as far as morality and in terms of sort of keeping this world in check without it all going sort of everyone against everyone and doing anything we like?
What? You want to run at that one again? What's your question?
That makes interesting radio, but it doesn't make interesting conversation.
Not so far, no, Luke. I can only imagine how fascinating your little in-house discussion was.
No, I think it's fine to be able to consider things in life which are very important. Marriage is important. Supporting one another, helping each other, giving money, loving one another.
Right, well, you sound like you live in a commune.
Not at all. I have lots of...
Sounds like a call from 1972.
I own quite a big company. I employ people. I do lots of good things. I'm sure you do too.
Well, I don't know about lots. What do you mean by lots of good things? What do you do that's good?
I basically, without saying any names, but I have I clean a company, a project which is £360 million project. That's quite a good.
Right, so you're a rich man. Remind me what the Bible said. Remind me what the Bible said about rich men again, because I forget. What was it that they said again in the Bible? Oh, that's one of the things that people who proselytize just to skip over bits that are associated with them. They just think, oh well, that's we'll just ignore that part, and then we'll concentrate on this bit over here, which makes us feel superior. Okay, thanks a lot, Luke. I wish you all the best. Tammy says, I'm quite confused. I usually listen to Remainer Nick Abbot, but have heard and seeing thinks saying he now supports WTO Brexit. Were hey thoughted we'd get there, speaking sense so listening now, 3 exclamation marks, high church and hard Brexit. Does that make sense?
Negative.
Maybe a bit of editing. I mean, am I asking too much? Just a little bit of editing before you put it through to me to read out on the air. Am I being unreasonable? Phil tweets, the Premier League is over. What the hell am I going to do this weekend? Well, you got a game tomorrow. I mean, later today, you got a good game. I mean, I know we can pretty much guess the result before the game even starts, but you never know with the FA Cup. Anything could happen. And then we got the European Cup finals coming up. That's very exciting. Anyway, he says, especially, what am I going to do this weekend? Especially Sunday, the dullest day of the week, if you're not into fairy tales. Well, you may think that, Phil, but I couldn't possibly comment. And Neil emails, for goodness sake, Nick, are you a man or a moose? I'm a moose. Which is loose, Abbot Mahus. Reading. Hello, Gilbert.
Hey, hi, Nick. You always say that the people in the UK did not vote for Brexit to swap white Eastern Europeans for black Africans. So I wanted to challenge you on that.
Go ahead.
Now,
challenge away.
Yes, that's fine. So somehow I agree with you, but then why pick on poor Africans? How about Asians? How about the Latino people? Why?
Well, specifically because people will cite the Commonwealth. They say, we should be doing a bit more business with the Commonwealth, they say. And we should be importing people from the Commonwealth, not from Poland, they say.
Yeah,
thinking that the Commonwealth is Canada and Australia. But Canadians and Australians ain't going to come here to make our coffee.
Yeah, I know, but the Pakistani people, they're also part of the Commonwealth. So why don't you say that part also Asians?
Because Pakistani people come here in, I think, the largest number of other countries that are sending people here are Pakistan, India, and China. I think it's not Poland, and it's not.
Africa.
It's not
as well. So why are you picking on black Africans then? Because you always say that the white people.
Yeah, I'm not picking on them. You're not listening, Gilbert. I'm not picking on them. I'm picking on the people that voted in order to be surrounded by fewer foreigners. They voted. But my complaint is, if you want to put it like that, is that the people who voted for fewer foreigners and then say we should do more for our friends in the Commonwealth aren't thinking it through. Because, as you say, I have stated many times on this show, and you are the only person who has ever come back and said that I would be very surprised if the people that voted Brexit in order to be surrounded by fewer foreigners expected to be surrounded by fewer white Europeans. And hey, my phone's just burst into life.
Okay, here's what I found online. Let's take a look.
No, I don't want to take a look. What? That's weird. Something I just said made my phone burst into life and started looking up what I was saying. Shut up, phone, doing a show here. God, I'm being attacked by my technology.
Affirmative.
Anyway, where was I? Oh, yeah. Simply put, people did not vote Brexit for those who did in order to be surrounded by fewer foreigners, thinking that the people from white Europeans were going to stop coming here, and black African people from Uganda and Zimbabwe, they weren't expecting that. And if they were, then I'm ice cream sundae. That is in effect what I'm saying, Gilbert. I'm not picking on Africans. What are you talking about?
No, you always say specifically black Africans. Why is that so then?
Because they're Commonwealth countries. Oh God, we could have a little chit chat about this all night long, Gilbert. But you can keep asking the same question over and over again, and you will get the same answer. I guarantee it. Steve says, "Did you kill the grumpy cat?" Well, I have a confession. The confession is that was not a grumpy cat. Stop anthropomorphizing it. Oh, I bet you got that right, more or less. That cat wasn't grumpy. It's just the way its face hung. Poor little pussycat. Actually, not poor. It probably made a ton of money, didn't it? Or its owners did. Peter tweets, I have friends in Germany who genuinely think that Boris Johnson is a comedian impersonating a politician. They do not believe me when I tell them he is an actual member of parliament. It is incredible, no?
No.
Yes, exactly. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Let me remind you about my podcast. It's 30 minutes, there or thereabouts, of top quality amusement. It's the best of this show and some extra bits in there as well. You can find it on Global Player. If you download Global Player from your app store, you'll find a plethora of amusements to be had, amongst which are many, many podcasts. Go down to the Global Podcast and then swipe to the right until you find mine. It's called the Nick Abbot Habit. If you don't do things on phones, then just point your computer at it. Search for it by name. The Nick Abbot Habit.
This is LBC. Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbot.
Anybody care what this guy thinks?
No! Here's a call in Swiss Cottage. Oh, Eamon.
Hi, Nick. How are you, mate?
Good, thanks.
What about all this conversion therapy you're going through at night? A lot of people trying to convert you tonight.
I will not be converted. I'm a lost cause.
But which would you be converted to? Would you be converted to Brexit or Christianity or religion? If you had to pick one of them.
I'd like to be converted into sterling.
That'd be the best bait at the moment. It's only 127, but we'll see what we can do. Do you know the last caller, right, you had? We talked about this sort of cabal he's got going somewhere.
Oh, yeah. The fellow with the meeting. Yeah.
Lost you.
Hello.
Gone. Hello.
Yes. Hello.
The last call. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Can you hear me, Nick, or not?
Yes, I can. Get on with it.
Right, but the last caller, right, he was talking about sort of this and that, about right. I think he was just anti-homosexual and anti-gay marriage and anti-gay anything, anti-this and that. I think he's an Old Testament sort of man.
Well,
why's your phone clicking?
I've got no idea. Something on my desk keeps clicking. It's been irritatingly flashing at me all show long.
What does it sound like?
What is that? Well, I can't hear it. All I can see is the lights. TBU1. Who keeps using that?
That's what the caller's on, isn't it?
No, is it?
Yeah, I think so.
TBU1.
I'll have a look.
Well, it just keeps clicking over and over. It keeps flashing at me again and again and again, like somebody from the somewhere else in the building is trying to talk to us through this complicated machine. Can you please make it stop? Because that's not the first time that somebody's been complaining about the quality on the end of the phone.
Stop whining.
Hey, Eamon, stop whining.
It's God's number. God's calling you. Better answer the man.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's right.
What I was going to say to you, I was telling you a few months ago about the march and his suit and all this sort of rubbish. Right, but you know what's happening now, don't you? Boris is going to get in. This is the idea, Nick. This is their plan. Boris is going to get in. And all these Labour MPs up north, you can see him. What's her name? Is it Lindy, somebody?
Oh, yeah, he is fantastic. Lindy who?
No, what's her name? Blackhead girl. Lindy something. Then you've got Ed Ball's ex-missus.
Yeah, Lindy Hobb.
Lindy Hobbs. She does. Lindy Hobbs. She does the cookers. But then you've got Ed Ball's missus, whatever her name is. They're all going to lose their seat. They're going to come back with about 40 to 50 majority.
You can't tell me that Boris Johnson is popular in the north of England. I mean, he's no more popular in the north of England than he is in Scotland.
Yeah, but listen, he's your mate, Bojo the FO. I remember you called him that a few months ago.
Yeah.
Bojo the FO, and I thought that's who you need to come in and help you out with. I've got to go. I've got a nurse coming.
Okay. Well, he was honest. He's got a nurse coming in order to, distribute some medicine.
Want to score some pot?
Or something. Steve says, did you manage to get through all of last Sunday to Match of the Day without hearing the results? Yes, I did. How did you manage it, says Steve? Well, you just cut yourself off. Cut yourself off from human life, which is actually invigorating. You just don't turn the TV on, you don't turn the computer on, you don't turn the phone on. Switch everything off. It's wonderful. You can go outside. I mean, I did go outside tentatively, thinking, I hope that nobody starts singing, football songs in jubilation, because then I'll hear it and I will, I'll know who won. But they didn't. It was very exciting. John says, they come over here, what's wrong with them? I've got no idea what that means, but I don't know. I've got a good idea, but I don't know for certain. Paul in Rugby says, have you seen Good Morning Vietnam? You resemble Lieutenant Dan with the stupid noises. Who's Lieutenant Dan? Yeah, I did see Good Morning Vietnam. Hey, Paul!
Stop whining.
John in West London says, just a question, will Mrs May get a peerage and sit in the Lords? Yes, she will. Yes, of course she will. It's a well-trodden route. Of course. She'll be just fine. Don't worry about a thing. And David in Teddington says, if Brexit goes ahead and we win the Eurovision tomorrow night, it won't be able to take place in the UK next year. Now, I bet no one's thought about that during the negotiations. Well, I don't believe... Isn't it taking place in Israel? I don't think that Israel is in Europe. So it could be... We don't have to be in the EU to host the Eurovision Song Contest. And Alan says, the thought of spending a Friday night at Luke's prayer group has given me an insight as to what hell might be like, which is probably offensive. Let's have Stockton on Tees. Hello, Brian.
Yes, hello, Nick.
Oh, my God.
Hey,
God,
you know what,
Nick? They're all crawling out of the woodwork tonight, aren't they?
Hey, you know what, Nick?
What? Why are you so...
We're only making plans for Nigel.
God,
we only want what Nigel wants. You will be happy. You will be happy. What do you think about his ways doing, Nick? Nigel.
What? Whining about being asked perfectly reasonable questions on television? I thought it was pathetic.
I'll tell you who else is going to be happy as well. Boris Johnson, if he becomes Prime Minister.
Yeah, I seriously doubt he will.
They'll make a deal, won't they?
You'd have to be out of your mind to want to be Prime Minister at this point.
No, but if he becomes Prime Minister Boris Johnson, he'll make a deal with Nigel Farage.
I very much doubt it.
And that'll cut Labour completely out the picture. They'll be finished.
I very much doubt that the Conservative Party will do a deal with Nigel Farage.
Boris Johnson will.
I think they'd probably rather leap off Beachy Head.
Air deals, it's coming back, right? The
What on earth makes you think that Boris Johnson would do a deal with Nigel Farage? That Boris Johnson would want to share the limelight with Nigel Farage? You're out your mind, Brian.
They've got to. I'll tell you what. Can you just listen to the reason why I think it is?
As long as you don't sing it.
Right, their withdrawal deal, right, the fourth one, looks like getting voted down. She'll go with it. She'll go with the deal.
Yeah.
Say Boris Johnson becomes Prime Minister.
Ugh.
Right. And what you want with that deal, that withdrawal deal, it's got to go with her. That's finished as well. Right? And that leaves an open playing field for a Brexit MP, like Boris Johnson or Dominic Raab. Right?
Yeah, whoever the people can recognise the most. It's name recognition at this point. It's not what they will do or what they stand for or anything like that. Who's the most famous?
And what could happen after that, Nick, if that happens? She's gone, a withdrawal deal gone, you've got a Brexit Prime Minister in, and what could happen then is this. They've got to get credibility back, the Conservative Party. They've lost all credibility through not delivering Brexit. So they have to deliver a good Brexit, credibility back.
A good Brexit? What does that mean? A good Brexit? What does a good Brexit mean?
So what I think will happen is this.
What does a good Brexit mean?
Will you listen for a second, Nick? Just why you're saying...
No, I'm just curious as to what you're talking about. What does a good Brexit mean?
A trade deal or leave with no deal. That is any clean Brexit. There's no clean Brexit staying in the customs union. They'll lose all credibility doing that, the Conservative, with them being in power.
Even though it might actually benefit the nation to do that.
No,
but we're past benefiting the nation. We just want what you want now. No, whoever shouts the loudest gets what they want, and regardless of what it will do to the country. Nobody seems to be cared about that. There's care one jot about that anymore. It's just whoever shouts the loudest.
Nick, believe me, my crystal ball is better than yours. And they will have to do a deal with the Brexit Party. What will happen is...
But they won't, though. The Conservatives are not going to do a deal with Nigel Farage, Brian. You're out your mind.
There will have been another election.
They will if there's another election. Well, you think that there's going to be a reverse takeover by Nigel Farage of the Conservative Party?
No, Nigel Farage is not going to be in power. The Conservatives are still going to be in power. That's why they're going to make a deal with him. It cuts the Conservatives. What happens is, in all the Leave constituencies, right, what voted Leave, Nigel Farage will put somebody there to stop the Labour. The Leave will vote for him. And that leaves it wide open. That means for certain that Labour can't win a general election.
Well, neither can the Conservatives, and neither can Nigel Farage.
Nigel Farage doesn't want to win it. He just wants to deliver Brexit. He'll do the deal. You'll do the Brexit, Boris.
Well, you think that he'll just dry up and blow away once we're out of the European Union? You think that'll be it? He will no longer require his place in the limelight?
Nick, if her deal goes down, which it will, she goes. Brexit won, and the deal goes with it.
Yeah, you've said that already.
I'll bet you a tenner they do a deal.
Right, well, I don't bet, but particularly with people that I don't know on the phone, but they're not going to do a deal. Boris Johnson is not going to share a stage with Nigel Farage. That's never going to happen. Boris Johnson has grander ideas than that. He sees his place in history, not making some grubby deal with a bloke off the telly. Come off it, Brian. You're not that daft. And anyway, come a general election, it might not be an outright win, but Labour is, by the recent polls, likely to be the, not the undisputed champions, but they will be forming the next government, probably with the Lib Dems' help. I mean, the Lib Dems tried it with the Conservatives. How did that go, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
You'd think that their more comfortable home would be all hugger-mugger with the Labour Party. And if the Lib Dems and the Labour Party twin up, well, then they've got, 49, almost 50%. According to this poll here that I'm looking at, Kantar voting intentions. Conservatives are on 25, which is pretty low. Labour are on 34, which is not bad. By far, way out in the lead, according to this poll taken between the days of the 9th and the 13th of this month. Kantar voting intentions. You listen to this, Brian? This sounds much more plausible than that fantasy that you just spilled out all over the radio. You've had plenty of words. Now let me have a word. Conservatives are on 25%. Labour are on 34%. The Lib Dems are on 15%. And 15 and 34 is 49%. That sounds way bigger than anything that the Conservatives or the Brexit Party could... Oh, shut up. God, you're so annoying. I thought last time I told you not to call again, but you just keep ringing over and over again. The same call. Why are you so unpatriotic, Nick? According to this poll here, and this was backed up by another poll, Ipsos Mori. So it's not just one poll. Conservatives are on 25, Labour on 34, Lib Dems on 15. So if Labour and the Lib Dems are twinned up, that would be 49% of the population. That's voting intentions. This is general election, not European election, which is different. The EU elections, there'll be, if recent history is anything to go by, almost no one at all will show up to vote apart from single-issue obsessives. So in a general election, the Brexit Party are on 10 and the Conservatives are on 25. Even in that fantastical scenario that you've just described for us, Brian, that would be 35% for a Tory Brexit Party coalition, 35%, 49% for a Labour Lib Dem coalition. And I think that 49 is a bigger number than 35. I think that is an actual fact. But I will look it up for you if you insist. 0345 6060 973. Oh, look, it's just past 12:30. The news headlines with Zora Sullivan.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
What's he got to be depressed about?
Well, I think we've had all of the most annoying calls in one show. You know, the callers that just keep dialing over and over and over again. The chronic callers. They can't go one show without ringing. And it's not just my show. They ring up every show. Every time you tune in, it's one of them. And I think I've had them all in the same programme. Painful. John says, think yourself lucky. I can't remember the last time I was flashed at. Oh, about your studio flashing light. Right. Oliver says, Wednesday, I took your advice and I went down to Eastbourne Beachy Head. The place is fabulous. However, I have been battered by the worst winds ever as a result of your poor, unskilled weather reading from your dodgy Chinese phone. I went to a pub called the Eight Bells, and then they knew you there. I very much doubt it, because I've never heard of the Eight Bells. Where's the Eight Bells? It's not that place at the top of Beachy Head, is it? There's a big pub on the top of Beachy Head. The views out the window there are amazing. I've always intended to go up there when there's a storm on. You know, deliberately make a trip down to Eastbourne when there's a storm predicted, because to sit in that pub all cosy and warm and to be able to see a storm bowling in from, a good long distance, that'd be tremendous. I haven't done it yet, but I will. Chris says, did you see the playoff semi-finals for the championship this week? No, I did not. It was on Sky, wasn't it? I don't get Sky Sports. Because, it's like, who's got the time? I can't keep up with what's on there ordinarily. Never mind about Sky Sports. How does anybody have the time? And he says, what with that in the Champions League semi-finals, unbelievable football excitement. We've still got the finals to come. I know. Ain't it great? And then we've got a whole summer of thinking, well, it is only a couple of weeks. It seems like only a couple of weeks. They finish, and then almost immediately they start back up again. But there will be a couple of weeks there with no football.
Boring!
Let's try and get through it. Nick the Wolfman tweets, the Tory leader candidates are first voted by Tory MPs. The one with the least votes drops out, and then they vote again, and so on until two are left. Like he's telling us something we don't know. I know that. The tiny 100,000 party members then vote for those two for the leader. MPs may not let Boris Johnson, BJ. I've only just noticed his initials. They may not let BJ in the last two. That's right. And then that would be so disappointing. He's spent his entire life wanting the top job, and then it may get snatched from him just at the last moment. Wouldn't that be terrible? Hadley. Hello, Rob.
Hi there.
Hello there.
Hi there.
Hello
nice
there.
to meet you. I've been listening a long time.
Yes.
A little
long?
bit nervous. I just want to discuss, I studied religion for quite a while.
Studied it?
Because of the psychosis.
What?
Because of the psychosis from a bad religious education.
Right, you had a bad religious education.
Yeah, i.e. a state school, singing hymns and not really being educated properly about it. All I would like to cite is the computer's broken down, but there's a passage in Matthew 23:11-8 or something, or 20. Because the computer's broken down, I can't remember it.
Okay, well, we'll get a woman over momentarily. She'll be able to fix it for you.
Affirmative.
If you can't find a man, then, or if you can't find a woman, then a man may be available. Oh, he's going to start quoting selected bits out of a book written thousands of years ago by persons unknown. I'm sorry, Rob. I'm running right out of time, because time does move on. There's nothing you can do about it. This says, Christopher says, Brian's clean Brexit would be as clean as clean coal. And this says, Boris Johnson is not popular in the north. Well, he's, according to this thing in the Times, I was really surprised about this. When I first read it, I thought maybe it's a misprint. But Boris Johnson, they claim, is more popular in the north than he is in London. I very much doubt that. They said that it is despite the fact that he was London mayor, and the only thing I can think of is not despite, it's because. Let's have a call in Coventry. Umang. Umang, is that your name?
Yeah, it is. Oh yeah, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, so I believe a couple of minutes ago, quite a while ago, to be fair, some people said that Boris Johnson is quite popular in the North.
Yeah.
I sort of disagree with it.
I'd be surprised.
I don't think he's the sort of person who will be popular in the North. And not to mention that in his own constituency, his majority has fallen down tremendously from in the 2017 general election. So you're looking at someone who might not be able to hold on to his seat, or barely hold on to his seat at the next general election.
Really, I don't know that that's. I was unaware of that. He won his seat with a reduced majority. Is that true?
Yeah, it was halved in 2017.
So fame don't count for everything, eh, Boris?
Sorry?
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, you probably could be looking at a leader who might not be able to hold his seat at the next general election, because I think he is one of the target seats by momentum as well.
Oh, well, if that's so, then they'll lift him out of that seat and then they'll deposit him in a much safer one.
Yeah, that's true, but I mean, it's just a travesty when you imagine Boris Johnson to be the next Prime Minister of the UK. It's just something unimaginable. But, even less imaginable things have happened.
I'm president. Can you believe it?
Yeah, if Boris Johnson became the Prime Minister of this country, then it's a good job that the very thin-skinned, the famously thin-skinned President of the United States of America wouldn't have heard him say anything negative about him, because that would usually set Donald Trump against someone.
I think Donald Trump is clearly out of his mind.
If Boris Johnson had said anything that Donald Trump might have objection to, then this country might be in deep trouble.
I think Donald Trump is clearly out of his mind.
And if anybody had a tape of Boris Johnson saying something negative about the screaming Mimi in the White House, then they should certainly keep it to themselves for patriotic reasons.
I think Donald Trump is clearly out of his mind.
Well, at least if Donald Trump stays in the White House, even with Boris Johnson leading this country, would still not be the laughing stock of the world.
Oh, shut up!
0345 6060 973. Paul says that Brian bloke is like many Brexiteers. They all believe in fairy stories. He calls in with a new one every week. This says, I know what Luke wants. Who's Luke? Which one was Luke? Huh?
He's I've forgotten. Caller.
Okay, we've forgotten. Neither of us listen to this show. It's too chock full of cranks and kooks, including the host. It says, I know what Luke wants, the opposite of free speech and democracy. So, in other words, blasphemy laws and the divine right of kings. Oh, don't get me started on religion. I'm just not interested in your fantastical beliefs. I think it's all ridiculous, and that is my religious belief, which is just as good as yours. I don't care. This says, I have Luke's point back. What does that mean?
That was me saying I have Luke's point back. He said the country is becoming more British, Christian and traditional, and that he's happy about it.
Oh, yeah. But that's utterly meaningless. We're becoming more traditional. No, we're not. That's the opposite of true. And we're becoming more British. What on earth does that mean? It doesn't sound like something that Jesus would say, because it sounds intemperate and uncaring to me. Like, finally, we're getting rid of these foreigners. Is that something that Jesus might say? No. What, push them all back out to sea? Would you expect Jesus to say something like that?
Negative.
This says, where does that man hold his Christian meeting group? It sounds like there's plenty of booze there. I don't know, he sounded sober to me. Paul says, there's always more talent in Terry Wogan's eyebrow than any of the acts in Eurovision. I think Terry Wogan's not doing that show anymore. Yeah, I don't think he's on that show anymore. More talent in Terry Wogan's eyebrow. I don't know. Talent? From my ears, all he did, he had a 2-hour breakfast show, which is unheard of. 2 hours, which was 90% was music. I would imagine somebody else was playing it. And what he said himself was just reading what listeners had written for him. I think Terry Wogan's genius has been somewhat overstated. He just did it for a really long time. And you know what? When he left, nothing happened to the audience figures at all. At all. This says, I can't stand why people get so excited by a ball getting knocked about. When all the geezers go mad in a pub for a goal, it just baffles me. Am I the crazy one, or is it just everybody else, says Danny? It's you, Danny. It's war. That's what it's about. It's when two tribes go to war. Can't you understand that? It's not a game. It's war. It's war. Well, it is war games, is what it is. It's tribal. James in Catford says, have you been to Ongar? Regular listeners will know what that refers to. And if you don't, then, or even if you do, then you can listen to the podcast, because Ongar is all over the podcast. Doesn't that sound great?
No.
It is amusing. And it's called the Nick Abbott Habit. It is available on an internet near you. If you just do a search on Nick Abbott Habit, then it will become clear as to where it is. It's wherever they give away good podcasts. And also, of course, available on Global Player, the app that you should absolutely download to your phone, because the stuff that's on there, you wouldn't believe it. Global Player at your app store. Swipe down to the Global Podcast and all the way over to the right, and the Nick Abbott Habit will be just there. Ask for it by name.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Come on, we're running late!
Squire tweets, stop trying to electrocute your listener who keeps banging on about dodgy wiring. Well, if we're talking about the same guy, he claims he's an electrical engineer by trade, so he's not going to wet his fingers and stick them in a socket, no matter how many times I ask him to do it. Rory says, don't turn on the lights. Don't you know that electricity is dangerous now? Yeah, I did hear that, yeah. And Bess in Barnet says, the UK is doing very well with present arrangements. Lowest unemployment rate since the 1970s. World's fifth largest economy, maybe. UNSC permanent member. Access to the world's largest free market, the EU. Don't fix it till it's broken, says Bess. And Gillian Molesey says, why is Madonna going to be on the Eurovision Song Contest tomorrow? It was on the TV news tonight. That's sad, but we'll still watch. Still loving to hate. Why is Madonna going to be on the Eurovision Song Contest? Well, I don't think she's going to be singing for a country, is she? Is she? Or is she just going to be the act in the middle? You know, the act that people actually want to watch, rather than just some bizarre thing with band music or whatever it is that they're going to be doing on that stupid show. I can't believe it's still going. I mean, I'm just absolutely stunned that. Well, not that it's still going, I suppose, because some people will want to watch it, but I'm amazed that the national broadcaster is putting it on. Do they have no other ideas?
No.
Well, apparently not. They're fresh out. I'm amazed that all those TV stations are still going. It won't be too long. It can't be. The average age of the people who watch BBC One and BBC Two is like 65 years old. Isn't that incredible? The average age, which means that a good deal of their audience is actually past death now. This says, did I hear correctly that Meghan Markle has described her occupation as Princess of the United Kingdom on her kid's birth certificate? Did she? Did she? She did.
I think Zora said it in the news.
Oh, right. Well, I was probably out getting a coffee. Meghan Markle, Miss Sparkles, has described her occupation as Princess of the United Kingdom on her kid's birth certificate. I am stunned. He says, what does that even mean? She might as well put down lucky person who will smile and shake hands for free money, food, goods, properties, holidays and everything else. Forever. P.S. I think you need to try yoga. No, I tried yoga. Worst thing I've ever done. It's painful, apart from anything else. I mean, excruciatingly painful. It was one of the most distressful experiences of my life. It's supposed to calm you down. Gave me the right hump. And I'm not just talking about doing the downward dog. Sam says, do you work on weekdays? No. Steve Allen says you are comfortably off. Well, I'm comfortably numb.
Rock and roll!
So that's close. Let's have a call in Beaconsfield. Hello, Mike.
Hello.
Mike.
How are you doing?
Good, thanks.
Good. I just wanted to draw a comparison between Donald Trump and Boris Johnson. And I'm really upset about the prospect of Boris Johnson becoming Prime Minister because for the last few years we've been able to enjoy the moral high ground of at least having something to laugh at in the United States with a president whose name is somewhat adjacent to a lavatorial explosion in the back pocket.
Yeah, like wind.
I know a lot about wind. Exactly. But the trouble is, we could end up with a bloody Prime Minister.
Even worse.
Who's got the initials BJ, and you know what that means.
Boris Johnson. Yes.
Yes, in some circles, yes. And in others, something somewhat...
He would actually be even worse, because Boris Johnson is a smart person who is... economical with, who's occasionally economical with the truth, but Donald Trump is a stupid person who is occasionally economical with the truth. I actually don't know which is worse.
Hang on, Nick. Wait a second. You characterise Boris Johnson as being a smart person, but how smart can he be if he tweets on the day of local elections in the UK that he has just voted in London elections, which do not exist?
Yeah. Explain yourself, Boris.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I think we're all just headed down the toilet, frankly. And, we're going to get ever more laboratorial jokes as we go on because, frankly, it's so laughable that there's not much else we can do. I mean, to be serious for a moment, we are in a parlous state, both in the UK and in the United States, and those have been traditionally the leading democracies in the world, and it just breaks my heart to see it happening. But if you can't laugh about it, what else can you do?
Yeah, Donald Trump and his walrus moustache sporting sidekick Bolton are going to take us into a war, and we'll be following right along behind them.
Yes, but then again, that is no different from what Margaret Thatcher did with the Falklands in the 80s. This is history repeating itself.
Yeah.
That saying that if we don't study history, then we're doomed to repeat the mistakes of it. And I think that's what we are all doing.
Well, I'm afraid, Mike, I'll repeat myself. I say this over and over again. The only thing that anybody learns from history is that nobody ever learns anything from history.
Anything. Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, thanks for the bad news. I'll see you at the front.
I'll bring us into war.
Cheers, mate. 0345 6060 973. Noel says, please, Nick, tell me where these Brexiteers are going to go on their annual cheap holidays for cheap booze. Weatherspoons. We're all going on holiday to Weatherspoons. Daniela says, this show does not make much sense to me, yet it's incredibly entertaining. Okay, thanks a lot, Daniela. I'm not sure whether that was a complaint or not. Hey, Daniela.
Stop whining.
Edward says, your caller Ken has been seduced by magical thinking because the concepts of reasoning and evidence were never taught to him. I love it when listeners start picking fights with each other. Why can't people just get along? And this one says, as you all know how I feel about Brexit. What? But as you also know the Queen and the Royals keep quiet. And their THERE favourite person is Nigel Farage. Who will change everything and has the backing of our Queen? That was a new sentence. Who will change everything and has the backing of our Queen? These are your people, Nigel. Ipswich, Gary.
Hello, Nick.
Gary.
I hope none of your chronic callers, and you can put me in amongst those as well if you want. I hope none of your chronic callers sort of harm themselves or whatever, because you could get taken off the air, you know?
Harm themselves? Well, you got a good point.
Yeah, because, you know, poor old Ken, and we all love him because he's harmless, really.
Well, you don't know that.
Wow.
As a voice on the end of the phone, maybe, but, you know, if a lot of people think fantastical thoughts and come down against anybody who says anything against those thoughts, then, you know, history will tell us that doesn't necessarily end up in a positive way. Hundreds of millions of people could die. You just don't know. Gary, I've got to go because, hey, look at the time. If you want to listen back to this show or any other show over the week, then you can do that by availing yourself of Global Player, the app to be found on Apple or Android. And as well as listening to Live LBC, you can listen back to this show and the other programmes as well, and a range of podcasts, including my own, which I think you'll find a delight. Stick around. I'll be back at 10 this evening. After which City will undoubtedly be crowned FA Cup champions again. I mean, would you be stunned and amazed if that came out the other way? It would be a story. Stick around. Steve Allen will set you straight at 5 o'clock. But right now it's Matt Stadlen.
Have you heard, Nick?
Yes.
Boris Johnson's going to be your next Prime Minister.
Well, at least he's got a haircut in preparation.
What do you feel about it in summary?
What do I feel about it? How do I feel about Boris Johnson? With my hands.
Nick Abbott, thank you.